Gordon. Reports that the Chinese government, one conspiracy theory after another, Senator Cotton, and that they lied, and that 95% of this, according to that UK study, could have been prevented. But now, and they picked up all the PPE and safety equipment they could, and now they're selling it at a profit, and they wouldn't allow travel in or out of Wuhan to their country, but the rest of the world was wide open. How more culpable can they be here, and how do they pay for what they did in this case?
Yeah, Sean, it seems like almost every day there's new evidence of Chinese culpability and their malevolence here. As you say, they continue to allow international air travel out of China, even if they knew this virus was highly contagious. They cracked down on their own people. They're still doing that to this day. They destroyed a lot of evidence about the origins of this virus. That's why so many around the world view China as a pariah state, and they should. And calls for an international investigation like the European Union will now make, like Australia's already made, are going to be met with deaf ears in China, and that's only going to raise the stakes for making China pay for this pandemic. Some things we can do, like changing our sovereign immunity laws to make sure that Americans can sue the Chinese officials who are responsible for this pandemic. There are a lot of overdue actions we can take as well, like bringing our manufacturing base back to the United States to let China taking our jobs or stealing our intellectual property. I think that's going to be a big part of the reaction you see from Congress in the months ahead.
Gordon, what insights do you have that you, or maybe into their thinking, having studied China and understanding how they're acting there, and obviously as oppressive as they are, into what their thinking is? They've been building up their military. They've been trying to compete with us, get ahead of us on 5G. They covered this up from the world. Now there's talk that they would want to start a conflict over this. Should we believe any of that?
I think what we've got to be very concerned about, Sean, is that the Communist Party leaders feel themselves cornered. And they feel that all these calls for investigations, as Senator Cotton mentioned, are really mortal threats to the party because they know that something really wrong is going to be exposed. And as Senator Cotton said, their actions have been malicious in terms of deliberately taking actions that would inevitably lead to the spread of the virus outside of China's borders. So this is the crime of the century. Chinese leaders know it. They know they have no defense. And so therefore, they're acting belligerently. This is a very dangerous period.
How much worse was it there? Do you know, Gordon?
How much worse?
In other words, the virus. We know they covered up the real numbers of deaths. We know that they lied the whole time. I mean, they wouldn't allow any travel in or out of Wuhan within China, but they allowed it travel to stay open to the world. How many people do we think died there?
Well, probably 49,000, maybe 50,000 in Wuhan alone. I'm sure that there were a number of deaths in Chongqing. There have been clusters of disease all throughout the country. We're seeing a second wave. So when you think about the death toll, it's going to be, I suppose, around 60,000. But we really don't know, Sean, because they have been extraordinary covering up all of this. And so we can only guess, but it's many multiples of what they've been reporting.
It is estimated, I think, Senator, you correct me if I'm wrong, over $1 trillion of debt that they hold of the United States. I don't hear enough people saying, why would we ever pay any of it back? That's only the tip of the iceberg in terms of the damage and the cost that this country's had to bear because of their lies and cover-up.
Yeah, that is only the tip of the iceberg, Sean. And again, we should be exploring every avenue that's available and that is prudent and that will protect the American people from ever having this kind of pandemic unleashed on the world again from China. It's not the first time one of these outbreaks have originated in China, and recouping the losses that we have suffered so badly over these last several months. We can't bring those lives back, but we can help make some of those families whole. We can get jobs back. We can bring businesses back from China. We can ensure that China never again has this kind of leverage over us, and that they have no chance to achieve their long-term ambition of replacing the United States as the world's preeminent power.
Well said. Thank you both for what you're doing.